When over 90% of incoming rockets are stopped in mid-air, you know you're looking at something special. Israel's Iron Dome has been called the most successful missile defense system ever deployed. But how does it actually work? And why is it so effective in real combat? Let's break it down. Since the early 2000s, Israel has faced thousands of short-range rocket and mortar attacks. These weapons are cheap, easy to launch, and deadly if they hit cities. Traditional air defense systems weren't designed for this kind of constant, low-cost barrage. Israel needed something fast, accurate, and affordable, a way to shoot down rockets before they hit populated areas. In 2007, the Israeli defense company Rafael, with heavy U.S. funding, began developing a solution. Just 4 years later, in 2011, Iron Dome became operational. It quickly proved itself in real-world combat, intercepting incoming rockets over Israeli cities. And since then, it has become one of the most battle-tested defense systems on the planet. So, how does it work? Iron Dome isn't just a single weapon. It's a network of technology working in perfect coordination. Each battery is made of 3 main parts, and every one of them is critical to survival. First, there's the radar system. The moment an enemy rocket is launched, Iron Dome's radar locks onto it. In less than a second, it measures the rocket's speed, direction, and altitude. To put it simply, the radar is Iron Dome's eyes. Without it, the system would be blind to the incoming threat. Next, the data is sent to the Battle Management and Control Center, often called the BMC. This is the brain of the system. It doesn't just track where the rocket is, it predicts exactly where it will land. And here's where Iron Dome shows its real intelligence. If the computer calculates that the rocket will land in an empty desert or field, it does nothing. But if the trajectory points toward a city, a military base, or critical infrastructure, the system springs into action instantly. Finally, the launchers come into play. Each one holds up to 20 Tamir interceptor missiles, slim, fast weapons designed for precision. Once fired, the Tamir climbs into the sky, guided by its own radar and navigation system. It doesn't actually have to make a direct hit. Instead, it gets close enough to the incoming rocket and detonates, sending out a cloud of shrapnel that rips the target apart mid-air. From the ground, what people often see is a bright flash, the moment a threat has been completely neutralized. Here's the genius. The system only fires if the rocket is headed toward a populated area. If it's going to land harmlessly in an open field, Iron Dome saves the missile and ignores it. When the system does fire, the interceptor missile meets the incoming rocket mid-air, exploding close enough to destroy it before impact. The true strength of Iron Dome lies in its precision. In real combat, it has consistently achieved interception rates between 85 and 95%, an almost unheard of number for missile defense. Once activated, the system operates almost entirely on its own. Radar tracks the incoming threat. The computer calculates the trajectory, and if it's headed toward a city or critical site, a missile is launched automatically. Soldiers supervise the process, but the reaction time is so fast that human input is minimal. Now, let's look at the cost factor. Each Tamir interceptor missile costs anywhere from $40,000 to $100,000. At first glance, that sounds expensive. But when you compare it to the potential damage of a rocket strike on an urban area, destroyed homes, infrastructure, even lives lost, the cost becomes a bargain. In other words, Iron Dome turns a cheap $500 homemade rocket into a complete failure because the damage it was meant to cause never happens. This combination of speed, automation, and cost-effectiveness is why Iron Dome has been so successful on the battlefield, and why militaries around the world study it as a model for modern air defense. Still, Iron Dome isn't a magic shield. It was designed specifically to stop short-range rockets, usually between 4 and 70 kilometers in range. If an enemy launches a long-range ballistic missile, or even cruise missiles flying low and fast, Iron Dome isn't built to handle those threats. There's also the problem of volume. Each launcher holds only 20 interceptors. During massive barrages, hundreds of rockets might be fired in just a few minutes. Even with multiple batteries working together, the system can become saturated, and some rockets inevitably get through. That means Iron Dome can protect against most attacks, but not all of them. And while cheaper than the destruction it prevents, the cost still adds up quickly. Intercepting thousands of rockets over weeks or months can run into the tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars. For Israel, it's a price worth paying, but it's a reminder that even the most advanced defense system has financial and logistical limits. Iron Dome isn't just about protecting civilians, it's a strategic tool. By reducing casualties and damage, it gives Israeli leaders more time and flexibility before deciding how to respond militarily. Other countries are taking notice. The US has purchased Iron Dome batteries, and allies around the world are studying its technology as a potential model for their own defense. Iron Dome isn't science fiction. It's a working, battle-tested shield that has saved thousands of lives. It doesn't make Israel invulnerable, but it changes the game by turning cheap rockets into expensive failures. And in modern warfare, that's a powerful advantage. If you liked this video, stay tuned so you don't miss the next Wartech breakdown.